Hello and welcome back to the MLB DFS slate breakdown for Thursday, April 24th. I'm here and breaking it down. We have a 4-game slate on FanDuel, 3-game on DraftKings. DraftKings does not have the 4:45 Pacific time game. They only have the 3 night games on the slate. But as always, we'll dive through it all. I'm your host, Tyler Wiemann. Come join us at LineStar. $39.99 per month gets you access to all we do, all the props, all the DFS. You get it all, one low price. Now, let's jump in. I'm going to throw myself over there, actually. And let's get over to the perfect lineups from yesterday. We're going to do a little review, go over yesterday's perfect lineups and the winning lineups for both FanDuel and DraftKings. Then we'll do pitchers to consider, followed by some stacks. On DraftKings, perfect lineup, Ryan Gusto, Andrew Heaney. And then it was all one-offs. Not a big, stacking as Rays, Arizona had 7 and 6, Minnesota had 6, then Dodgers, Cubs, 6 and 7, so there are multiple teams right around that 6 and 7, which just provided, perfect lineup to be not very stack heavy. But 238.25 went to the perfect lineup in the winning lineup. 184.75 to Redman 910. Congrats to him. They had Webb, they had Heaney. Heaney was just unbelievable yesterday. And then they had the old 5-1-1-1. So 5 Cubs, 3 one-offs got it done. Congrats to Redman. And then on to FanDuel. What we had, it was a perfect lineup with Andrew Heaney. No surprise there. He went absolutely nuts. 2 Twins players and then one-offs. 325.5 was the perfect lineup. The winning lineup, 234.4. They had Logan Webb. They had a 4-man Tampa Bay stack, 3-man Minnesota, and a one-off with the late night hammer Corbin Carroll, who went absolutely nuts with 2 bombs. So congrats to MH. You got it done. Now let's dive into today's slate and see what we can uncover here. It's going to be an interesting one. So starting with DraftKings, it is the only the 3 late games. We got Carmen Moldozinski, 5K as a 40% owned starter. I mean, he's been going, 70th pitches. He's not going to work super deep into the game. There's not much strikeout upside outside of the fact that the Angels are striking out a decent amount to righties, but they're also hitting righties very well. 245 ISO over the last 20 games. I don't mind a little bit of Carmen, but I'm probably going to go elsewhere a little bit more. Next, we got Jacob deGrom, 9K, 35% owned. His pitch count reached 96 last game out, so I think if he's pitching well, he's going to see a decent amount of leash in these games, and I don't mind some deGrom. He's a very good pitcher. While he hasn't been totally into form this year, it did definitely look like versus the Dodgers he was rounding into form here. I think that strikeout rate's going to come up quickly for him this year, and I'm absolutely intrigued with Jacob deGrom a bit. Next, we got JT Ginn, 30% owned. He's been decent. Look, 3.78 FIP as a starter, 3.31 over his last 5. A little bit of upside with the 22% K rate. StatCast data is decent. However, the 42% hard contact rate is very, very scary. But it is a good spot versus the Rangers, who only have a 206 average and 152 ISO versus righties so far. They do hit the ball hard. They can hit the ball hard. It's a good hitting environment, but hey, this is a 3-game slate on DraftKings, and it's going to be tough to really figure out these pitchers. I don't mind some JT Ginn. Now, the 2 pivots that I'm most interested in, Corbin Burns. Corbin has not looked good this year. And really, 4.08 FIP over his last 20 starts isn't that impressive. but he is a solid pitcher. And while the Tampa Bay Rays have been hitting decently, I just don't think they continue to do that. I don't mind taking some chances on a super low owned Corbin Burnes. Also, Drew Rasmussen, 8,500. Dude has been absolutely dealing. 1.58 FIP over his last 20 starts. 1.7 over his last 5. Solid K rate. StatCast data looks good. There is a high fly ball rate, but it's coming with not a ton of hard contact, so it doesn't scare me that much. Now, Diamondbacks offense has definitely been pretty good, so it's not who you want to face, but hey, you don't really want to face the Oakland A's either, and Jacob deGrom is super high owned. There's multiple reasons to want some Rasmussen at very low ownership. I don't mind a little bit. He's going to be low owned. Consensus is low on him. Our projection is low on him, but I'm going to have a little bit on this slate just to get different. Getting over to FanDuel. So with the 2 games, Mackenzie Gore is the highest owned here, 28% owned. I don't mind some Gore, but is a very, very tough spot versus the Orioles. Orioles are worse versus lefties, though, so there is some reason to want some of him. 28.5% combined K rate is just great, and I don't mind a little of him versus Orioles. Orioles have been awful versus lefties so far to start the season. Jacob deGrom, 8,100. Price is lower here. Definitely interested. Corbin Burnes, 8,700. Very real pivot option for me, as well as Drew Rasmussen at 9,600. I don't love Rasmussen's price here. It is a bit elevated, but I don't mind getting a little bit. And now let's get to some stacks to consider here. So I'm going to use FanDuel today. I know we usually go with DraftKings, but FanDuel just gives us all 4 games, so want to use this here. Highest owned stack, we got the Angels. 105% owned is the highest stack, and I'm fine going there. 105 on only a 4-game slate isn't that egregious, and there's a ton of Angel stacks that are a little less owned. If you get the Angels here in the 80%, that's not too high owned in my book, especially when you're going against one of the higher owned pitchers on DraftKings in Carmen. So makes some sense to want to have some Angels. Don't absolutely love the spot, but I also don't mind it. And then our highest projected stacks, we got Arizona versus Drew Rasmussen. Look, Rasmussen is going to be a very high leverage pitcher. The Diamondbacks are going to carry some ownership. I think it is a little bit of a risky spot for the Diamondbacks and the Diamondback stacks. Rasmussen has been very, very good, and this Rays team always seems to be able to limit runs a bit with some solid pitching. Pittsburgh versus Tyler Anderson. Big thing about Tyler Anderson is he has huge reverse splits. He is a lefty who is worse to lefties, way better to righties. So if you're going to use that Boston stack, make sure you sprinkle in some lefties. And then behind Anderson, that bullpen isn't very good, so it makes plenty of sense to go that way as well. Now, if we go to our value stacks, we got the Tampa Bay Rays versus Corbin Burnes. I think it does make some sense to sprinkle in some Rays. Simply put, Corbin Burnes has been poor. 4.78 FIP over his last 5 starts makes some sense to want to continue picking on them, especially when the Rays are low owned and provide good value with the projections. I think they're interesting. Pittsburgh's also popping up. Like I said, lefties versus Anderson make a whole lot of sense, and obviously sprinkle in some righties because there's going to be some bullpen time as well. Very interested with them. Our ceiling, we got Arizona. We talked about them already, so we'll skip through that, but we do have Oakland here popping up versus deGrom a little bit. Oakland has some big bats. Their ceiling is always going to be there because when they do get it going, it's a ton of home runs and stolen bases. It makes for a very interesting play. I just don't love going against deGrom. Now they're going, and if they're 63% owned like we have here, I think that's a bit too high owned for a spot versus deGrom as well. But I mean, There's only 4 teams to choose from here, and Oakland, I'm fine with a little bit of him. Our highest leverage, we got Washington versus Cade Pavich. Absolutely love this Washington stack. Pavich hasn't been great. 4.81 FIP over the last 5, 4.93 over the last 20. Washington has some bats. Absolutely interested in them. Also, Oakland we have talked about. So let's click the teams tab here. 4.9 implied run total for the Angels is our highest. Absolutely interesting. Arizona's at 4.5. Texas is at 4.5. I think Texas is extremely interesting. We didn't talk about them at all. JT Ginn, doesn't have many starts under his belt. He has been good, but still young. Blow-up games can happen, and he's allowing 42% hard contact, 90 mile an hour average exit velocity. The bullpen behind him, hit or miss. If you can get him out early and get into that middle relief that isn't very strong, you can definitely get over on that Oakland bullpen. Their back end bullpen guys are very good, but front end, not so much. Baltimore versus Mackenzie Gore. Gore has been incredible lately, but that bullpen behind them has been a little rough to start the year. Then Pittsburgh versus Tyler Anderson. I love the spot. If you can get to Anderson and really get into that bullpen, there's a big time upside there. So that'll do it for us today, guys. Hope you guys have a good one. We'll be back more tomorrow. Peace.